Welcome back. It's a special edition we're bringing to you to wrap up the events that have happened in 2015. And this is 2015, the twists and turns, reaching you live here on Channels Television, broadcasting from Lagos. We'll also like to indulge you that just for the spirit of the season and dovetailing from, or should I say, graduating from 2015 to 2016. Would like to know what you're doing and what you're up to at this time. So you can be part of it. At some point, we'll be displaying some of those pictures that you've sent in.
The hashtag is 2015 last pics. You can share your selfies with us, what you're doing to end the year, or how you're going to cross into the new year. Send those pictures in.
It is also interactive, so you could tweet at Gimba003
and
also
Emana Amawe.
Brilliant. Now, I made an error, and I'm going to make that correction now. The guests we've had aren't supposed to leave us at this time. We'll continue with them because we'll be talking about politics, which is a vast area, and they are major industry understanders or undertakers of politics, as it were. So we're going to have them in the studio still as soon as we continue on the show. But just before they come on, we'd like to also look at an event that happened in 2015. The war against terrorism also had an impact on Nigeria's general elections, slated to kick off on February the 14th, 2015.
Yes, indeed. Retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki, the former National Security Advisor, suggested that the general elections be postponed.
Colonel Dasuki, who was speaking at Chatham House in London, said that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, needs more time to ensure that all qualified Nigerians receive cards for the vote.
The law provides for elections to be conducted not more than 90 days before and not less than 30 days to the end of the administration. February 14th is closer to the 90 days before the end of the tenure. And we raised it with INEC. We said, look, there is a problem. If you've had a year plus, and all we've been able to do is distribute, I think, about 50% of the cards. We still have about 30 million, according to them. We have about 30 million cards to distribute. Look at the possibility of shifting this thing and doing it when everybody has a card. Because it doesn't cost you anything, it's still within the law, and it is safer for all of us. So that is what we are encouraging. They keep assuring us everybody will have his card, but I doubt it. If in 1 year you've distributed 30 million, I don't see how you'll distribute another 30 million in 2 weeks. It doesn't make sense. But there is nothing wrong with us delaying to ensure that everybody who ought to vote gets that card to vote. Because the comment every day we hear is, you can't vote without a permanent voter's card. Now, if you can't vote without a permanent voter's card, what sense does it make to vote 3 months early when 30 million people whose cards have not been issued are still with INEC? That's my position.
And to ensure peaceful presidential elections or peaceful presidential election, candidates of all the political parties signed a peace accord for the February 14 elections. Well, the signing ceremony took place in Abuja with the presidential candidates of the two major political parties, President Goodluck Jonathan and General Muhammadu Buhari, in attendance.
It was an event that brought together all the presidential candidates, including the two major gladiators in the February presidential elections, President Goodluck Jonathan and General Muhammadu Buhari. They had to put off the campaigns to sign this accord to abide by the rules and shun violence in all its ramifications. Dr. Kofi Annan joins other speakers to remind the presidential candidates of their responsibilities, which includes how to fix Nigeria's problems and not inflammatory statements.
I know that you have the power in this room to influence what candidates and supporters do and say in the weeks ahead. I hope you will use that power to focus attention on your party's policies, not the personalities. Let us talk about how to fix Nigeria's problems. The country's unity in diversity must not be undermined by campaigns that seek to exploit either of our two major national fault lines, ethnicity and religion.
The electoral umpire wonders why elections are prone to violence.
The attitude and disposition of parties and candidates will determine to a large extent whether we have peaceful or non-violent elections.
Presidential candidate of the APC is running for the fourth time. His experience is harrowing as he calls on the judiciary, the INEC and political agents to be wary of their conducts.
Practical implementation. Go to any ministry, go to any first data, you will get administrative instruction how the human beings, the workers, Nigeria, should be managed from flow cleaning one to the permanent secretary.
The audience had an opportunity to know how serious the other presidential candidates are.
We must redeem our political culture. We must redeem our image.
For the incumbent president and presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party, abusive, provocative and threats are issues the political leaders should guide against. He also calls on INEC to be transparent.
When we conduct our elections must be credible, not just by our own thinking, but everybody must believe that elections are credible.
The signing of the accord was supervised by none other than Chief Emeka Anyoko, an accord Nigerians say all of them must abide by. The presidential candidates get back to the field to continue with their campaigns. The next time they will meet perhaps will be in the ballot box come February 14. For now, they live here with the food for thought that Nigeria cannot afford to make the mistakes of the past. Chukwuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
And as Nigerians counted down to the presidential election, President Goodluck Jonathan appealed for a peaceful, free and fair election. The president made this appeal in his last broadcast on the eve of the polls.
Presidential election. The president delivers a speech.
Well, on March the 28th, 2015, Nigerians went to the polls to elect a president and members of the House of Representatives and the Senate. 950 senatorial candidates from the registered political parties vied for the 109 seats in the Senate, and 3,939 contestants from the 26 registered political parties jostled to occupy the 360 seats in the House of Representatives. One of the innovations of this year's elections was the introduction of a card reader to facilitate accreditation and prevent electoral fraud. It, however, did not work out as planned because there were several reports of card reader failure at polling stations across the country. Even President Goodluck Jonathan fell victim to card reader malfunction, and he could not be accredited at his polling unit in Otoke, Bayelsa State, after 4 card readers were used.